Happy June, everybody! Yeah, it is June 1st, and today, I did this last year, but I'm gonna do this again because I am showing off my locomotive fleet on what I have. And just like last time, I am gonna start in order from the very beginning to modern days, or from what I had first to what I have at the time. So, yeah. And I did this at the beginning of last year because, it's kind of something I've wanted to do for a little bit. And I kind of want to do it again because it just comes to show how far I've gotten in this hobby. So, yeah. And, here's a clip from last year.
Hi everyone. Sorry for the tone in my voice. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and I've been up for 4 hours, so around 2:30 since then.
So you all seen the clip. You all know how poor of quality the camera is. Um, to be honest, would you believe me if I told you I didn't use this camera at the time of filming that? I actually used something else. I don't feel like getting it out because I'm not sure where it is at the moment. But anyways, enough that aside. Let's get to it. So the engine I'm going to start off with is the one that started it all. Well, since I got back into trains. This is my EMD GP40-2, that GP40-2R from the BNSF Railroad. This is the only diesel I have in my collection at the time of filming this. And even though I'm not a huge diesel buff, it's still a nice model. I still like it. And now we go to a model that I've been wanting since I was a kid, but never got since I was a kid. I always had that. And yeah. And I noticed that Thomas's eye is crooked. Yeah, this is Thomas' tank engine. This is a Bachmann model. Yeah, Thomas was pretty much he was responsible for all of this, pretty much. Excuse me. So yeah, there's Thomas. Not in shock. And we have the steam engine that is very, very close to my heart. This is the Class A4. This is the Mallard, or as I now kind of would like to nickname her, the Queen of Speed, since that there is a rumor that she is the fastest locomotive in the world. But there is also another rumor that she isn't, because this engine was supposed to be 126 miles an hour. But there are rumors out there also that they say that she isn't. There are other steam engines that have beat the record already, but weren't officially recorded. To be honest, I really don't want to believe that, and I still kind of refuse to, because I do believe that this engine is supposed to hold the crown for the world speed record. So, yeah. And now we move on to a fictional locomotive. I really thought this locomotive was real at first, but turns out it's not. I even tried looking it up. Yeah, it's not real. It's an 060. It's also by it's by Bachmann. It's the one that came from the Chattanooga train set, and it's a really good runner. It's a really good model. I like it. I just serviced this not too long ago, by the way. And now here we have another A4, but this one is by Bachmann Branch Line, not just Bachmann. It's a Bachmann Europe Inc. This is Silver Fox. This is from the Silver Jubilee. The Silver Jubilee's fleet that ran from London to Edinburgh in 1935 onwards. For the streamlining, Silver Link was the first Silver Jubilee A4, and they got rid of it. They got rid of this one too. They got rid of all the Silver Jubilee locomotives. Yeah. Now this one is how do I say it? It's kind of a Very special locomotive in the UK, I would say. By the way, this was all from here to here. That was when I went all British mode. So I went full on British, and now I got back to USA pretty much. So yeah. Don't laugh at the name. This is a Cock of the North, believe it or not. Here is the name. Get that in focus. There we go. See? That is literally its name. So yeah, this is the P2 class, and what's really sad, we actually lost this locomotive twice. First time, it was in this design, and everybody really loved this design back in the day. Second, when the designer of this engine passed away in office, the successor, Edward Thompson, he redesigned all 6 of these locomotives into Pacifics, and so many people were disappointed about it, and later on, they were scrapped, so they were no more.
You bastards!
And they are rebuilding this locomotive, what I heard. It's going to be a 7th member of the class. Right, now moving on to the 80s. This one is it's pretty nice looking. This one has a very interesting story from when I got it. It was back in February 2018. I just recently bought this locomotive, and I've kind of been wanting this locomotive in my collection for a while. This one is Sir Nigel Gresley. Sir Nigel Gresley, by the nameplate there. This one is from the 1980s, like I just said. When I first got it, I really did thought it didn't work, and I was so disappointed that I spent so much money on this engine that I really thought it was not going to come back to life, and the only way to bring it back to life is to put a new motor in it. But I never did, and instead I actually got this working, believe it or not. The stupid problem was the connection between the engine and tender. Back in the 80s, it was just a little copper plate that just needed to be attached to the pin of the tender, or a little copper plate that is attached to the engine that needed to be connected to the tender of the locomotive. Yeah, there's that. Now we move on from 1980s to sort of modern era. This is an engine that I wasn't expecting to get at the time. I wouldn't call this rare, but I'm sure it's still out there on eBay. This is Golden Plover, and it's another A4 class. This is an A4 too. By the time I was obsessed with this type of class, for obvious reasons, but yeah, this is Golden Plover, and this time this is in British Railways green. This one was in LNER Garter Blue, LNER Silver Gray, also LNER Garter Blue. But yeah, this is Golden Plover. This is like right after nationalization, years after nationalization, by the like crest on the tender. This is a really good model. It's a nice runner. Now, instead of LNER Garter Blue, would you believe me if I told you this is LNER Coronation Blue? So this is Commonwealth of Australia. This one got a really interesting story too. Not to mention, this was the most expensive I've ever paid for an engine that I bought from overseas. So, the story behind it. When I got this, obviously it took a week to get here, and I paid $213 for it. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it. I'm sure it was around 100 something, plus shipping, obviously, because it was coming from overseas. And when I got it, you're gonna cringe by this, I snapped 2 wires from the engine that was connecting from the engine to the locomotive. Or if that makes any sense, the plug that was attached to the locomotive, 2 wires snapped, and then yeah, I got so pissed after I snapped those 2 wires, because it's an engine I wanted to get for so long, and it's a limited edition, and I really didn't want to send it back or throw it away or something like that. So I did get it repaired, and yeah, this one's a great runner too. Now moving on from that, we have a model that is, or a steam engine in real life that is brand new. This one is seen running today. This is Tornado. It's the Peppercorn A1 class. They just built this not too long ago in 2008, and you can see it running on the main line today in the UK. They built a new one because all the other Peppercorn A1s from back in the day, all of them were scrapped. None of them were preserved. And yeah, that's why they built one. So it looks like the British are finally rebuilding steam, and it looks like we are too. And so are we starting with the Pennsylvania Railroad T1? I guess so. That must be why. Yeah, that must be why we're starting off with the T1, maybe. And now on from British, we have dun 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 dun. Sorry for the terrible singing. We have Norfolk and Western's Class J 611. This engine is really awesome. Yeah, what can I say? 611, kind of an iconic locomotive to the Norfolk and Western. Well, I wouldn't say iconic. I'm pretty sure there was maybe more iconic engines than this, but this is one of the streamlined engines that Norfolk and Western did, and it just looks so cool. All right, one more to go. I'm gonna have a little drink, and I'll be right back. Okay, after having a sip of my Mountain Dew, now we go to my latest purchase. Oh my god, this thing is just so awesome. This is a New York Central J3A class Hudson type locomotive. Now, this one has a really interesting history to it, and a sort of a sad ending too. When these were built, they were built in 1927, and I'm not sure who designed the original type of Hudson at first, but and I didn't know who was running the New York Central at the time, and I still don't know who ran it today before this streamlining. 275 of these kept rolling out of the shops until 1938. And at the same time when the Hudsons were finished being built, Henry Dreyfuss came along in 1938, like I said, around the time when the Hudson was finished being built. And he designed this really awesome looking, iconic, streamlined design. It just looks so cool. And these guys were really famous for hauling the 20th Century Limited. Yeah, it's just a really famous thing. This thing is really famous. If you can tell. But yeah. And yeah, not one of these was preserved. And not to mention, would you believe me if I told you that this streamlined shape didn't last long either? Yeah, when World War II came in, I guess they had them strip from the shrouding, and that was it. That was the end of the streamlining. So yeah, I just recently got this, and it still runs really well. It's a little noisy, but I don't really mind that. It still has its old motor from the old days, and hey, it still runs. Yeah, and it's in really good condition too, and it's from the early 70s. Well, this one is pretty beat up, and it's from the 80s. And just look at it. Just look at it. It looks like she just came out of the factory yesterday. But yeah. And by the way, this is a Rivarossi model. This is my first ever Rivarossi. I got a ton of models from Bachmann and Hornby, but not Rivarossi. That's really interesting. I do plan to get more Rivarossi stuff in the future. And like I said, I know MTH and Broadway Limited make really good, fantastic HO stuff, but Rivarossi, I don't know what it is about them. They just make interesting models. And not to mention, I do plan on making a video about Rivarossi in the future, how and why we probably don't see them in the USA anymore, pretty much. Oh, yeah. Do we see them in the USA still? Let me know if you guys seen a Rivarossi locomotive in a hobby shop. Well, a modern Rivarossi locomotive. I mean, yeah, just let me know if you've seen it in the shops, because I'm kind of really curious, because I don't even know if you can see them in the US anymore. Well, I know the old River Rossi, you might see one or two in a hobby shop if you're lucky. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that is my entire fleet. It's slowly growing, but hey, it's getting there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for being with me on this awesome journey. And I can't wait to make another video next year and see how much the fleet has grown. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.